Puerto Vallarta, the luxurious Westin hotel. I'm a lucky man. You know, Puerto Vallarta is the kind of place that people come to chill out and soak up the sun. It's got a charming little colonial downtown, the Pacific on one side, Sierra Madres on the other. You know, back in the 60s, when John Huston came here to shoot The Night of the Iguana with Richard Burton and Ava Gardner, it was just a sleepy little fishing village. Suddenly it became the celebrity hot spot. Well, it's anything but sleepy these days. It's still beautiful, but it's a full-on vacation destination. You know me. I'm always looking for the real thing, you know, the heart and soul of Mexico. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Puerto Vallarta. Cappuccino's a wonderful thing. But what's got my curiosity working is, can I find authentic Mexican food in this world-class tourist paradise? I got a hunch I can. From dawn all the way to dusk. Let's start with breakfast. I got a tip for you. You're trapped practically anywhere in the world. Search out the market, especially in Mexico. I mean, a town of any size will have one. And the market fondas, those little mini restaurant stalls, well, they'll serve up some of the best, most soul-satisfying food you've ever tasted. So how do you choose which fonda to eat at? Well, I first go in and survey all of the options, and then I go with that perfect combination of fresh, clean-looking food and the biggest crowd. And then I order this big bowl of, well, whatever they recommend. Something like a hearty beef soup or some chicken in mole, maybe some pozole. All of it cooked in the local style. Right now, I know just what I want. Gracias. Chilaquiles. It's crispy tortillas softening in a red chili sauce with cream and cheese and a fried egg on the top. You know, fondas are like the long-gone diners you used to find in any American town. A place you could always count on for an honest meal. This looks so delicious. It's tasty, satisfying, comforting, inexpensive, and just about as local as you get. You know, I love those red chili chilaquiles so much, I just gotta show you how to make them. You start with these guajillo chilies. You see, they look a little bit like the big New Mexicos, but they're shorter and, well, they got a little spiciness to them, and they've certainly got a deep, rich flavor. The first thing you do is to tear the stem end of it off, and then tear them open, shake out all the seeds, pull out those little veins that are there. And then the next step is to toast them. I'm toasting them on a griddle that's heated to medium. Here, put it down there, and with a spatula, I'm gonna press it flat against that hot surface. And it'll just take a few seconds, and I'll know that they're right when I flip it over. And you see that change of color, that lighter color that's in there? That and the beautiful red chili aroma that's filling the kitchen. That tells me we're all ready to go. I've got a whole bowl of them over here. Now the next step is to soak these things, to rehydrate them. So I'm going to put them into some hot water, just hot tap water here. And if you want to make sure that they rehydrate evenly, you'll put a plate over the top of them so that they'll soak. And then after about 20 minutes or so, we'll be ready to blend them. Just take them out of that water. I'll use a pair of tongs to do that and put them in a blender jar with a 15-ounce can of tomatoes. I just love those roasted tomatoes in the can. And 4 cloves of garlic, a cup of water. Blend it until it's an absolutely smooth puree. Now there'll still be some seeds and some skins in there, so I press it through just a regular old everyday strainer, nothing fancy, the kind you could buy at the grocery store. Press it all through there, toss away all of the little debris that you get in the strainer, and then you've got to cook this down. So heat a little film of oil in the bottom of a large pan. I like to use something like a Dutch oven. And then when it's hot, put that puree in all at one time and stir it around until it's the consistency of tomato paste. Then add some broth to it. It'll take about 3 cups of broth to give this a nice sort of soupy consistency. Let it simmer for 20 minutes over medium-low, and you're ready to finish those chilaquiles. Now I need to season our sauce with about a teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to give it a little bit of sugar as well, just about a 1/4 teaspoon. And I'll tell you the reason I'm doing that. Red chili sauces can be a little bold and a little astringent sometimes, and if you haven't cooked everything just perfect, then that little bit of sugar will balance it all out. Seasoning a red chili sauce is not the easiest thing in the world. Now to make this sauce into chilaquiles, I'm going to put in about 8 cups of these really thick homemade style chips. The critical measurement here is 8 ounces of chips, and you could do store-bought if you wanted to, but always look for the ones that are the thickest and sort of homemade looking. Put them right into the sauce and stir it all around. You want to moisten them all. Make sure that they've got a little of that sauce on them. And then as it comes to a boil here, we'll start counting time. Once it hits the boil, then we'll put the top on it, turn off the heat, and let it go for 5 minutes, and those chips will just soften beautifully in that seasoned sauce. Now over here, while those are softening, I'm going to dribble a little oil into a non-stick skillet and cook 4 sunny side up eggs. Let's take a look at those chilaquiles there. That's what they should look like. Let me stir it up and I'll show you what it looks like from underneath. Just a nice little amount of sauce. The rest of it's been absorbed by the chilaquiles. Boy, does that look good to me. Let me grab a plate here and spoon some of it on. I like to make sure that I've got a good amount of that spicy red chili sauce on there. Top it with one of the fried eggs. And now I've got all the classic garnishes set out here. Little Mexican crema. You can use sour cream, but if you do, you'll want to add a little bit of cream or a little bit of milk to it. Just thin it out, smooth it out. And I'm going to put a couple of white onion rings over that. Some of this Mexican grating cheese, the kind that's called queso añejo, sprinkled over the top. I think maybe a little chopped cilantro will make that look really pretty. There's my favorite breakfast in the whole wide world. Red chili chilaquiles with a fried egg.